8/25, 2024. 19 years ago today was my last day in Los Angeles. I went to rehab on today was the day. And then I did not come home. That was in May. And I did not come home because of my accident during Katrina, which was 8/25 of that same year. So 8/25 and me have a weird mixing in the universe. But check this out. If you're local, if you know anything about local events, maybe even national, all right, you've seen a tragedy on TV, whatever. It maybe just a little blip on your local news even. But like it's always hit me off as like weird. And when I say weird, I'm saying, hey, like I'm just letting you know what I hear on the ground. They might come to me later for it, but it's a deep one about the King City, the events in King City, right? Now and I'm thinking this is natural. We're thinking it's Mexican on Mexican gangs. They basically went to King City. Now, first of all, if you live in California, have you ever driven from north to south or south to north? Now, when I say King City, what do you think of when you're driving? Exactly. Exactly. Everyone knows it is the place where that's where all the cops are. Okay, so that's where all the cops are. And the precision of the hit, they killed four men. They fine tooth comb FBI investigated these guys. They don't like they're almost too immaculate. The guys never screamed out any gang things or anything like this. Who the fuck could have done a hit like that? And they drove all the way across town to do it. They stole the car a month earlier in Pacific Grove, and then sat on a stolen car. Keep that in mind. I'm not saying you're a criminal. I'm just saying think of it from a criminal mindset. You do not sit on an entire car. So it had to be stolen for that purpose. They meant to go do an event like that. So I don't know how. I don't think I don't think it's that deep of a conspiracy. But they had to be in sync with the police. That's the cop town. And if you look at where they went and did the shooting, you can even look at the populations of the cities. You don't really see that. I mean, there's shootings everywhere, but Mexican on Mexican gangs. Yeah, so we're supposed to think that. But if you look at this whole style of the hit, then they drove the car south on the freeway into a wine vineyard and left it there for anyone just to come find. And we're saying these were Mexican kids that were doing it. I think the most recent reason was just to let them know that gangs rule the area, not like a specific gang. Like with some really there was no heart in it purpose to do that. Fuck no, man. I mean that's what I'm saying. L.A.92, which teaches you. I'm just not going to ever rely on that. And I've seen that on the news. I have seen it on CNN and covered in places. I mean, for like all these men dead for a birthday party, and there's nothing. I mean, why did that happen? And they're making it sound like they were masked up like the Romanian mafia. This is like above North Hollywood shit, dude. It was not Latinos that did it. They don't do themselves like that. And then in a city that we know in L.A. or California, and we know that there could be. It's a 1 in 10% chance. A group like that, like they were making a really heavy subliminal statement. They wanted you to think it was them on them. So they're starting the shit. It's gotten too quiet, and that has to be a complicated thing to do. Why would you sit on a stolen car without parting it out or anything? That's so dangerous unless you were connected with law enforcement. And what do you know King City as when you drive through it? That's where you always get pulled over. The cops out there like they're flexing muscle. They've used their speaker and come up to us and sit down in the car. It's a trip. So put all those together and then look at how even Latinos are coming out with other ton of stories about like shit. They think there's something odd about this. Like there's something not normal. And I'm saying with a capital N about that story. I hit on it. The second I saw the story on the news, I hit right away. I said, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. And they hadn't had any evidence yet. It's crossed that line. That's crossing the line. That's a mistake. But what's not a mistake, it might be a mistake that I told you, but now you know. And what I'm saying is, in a sense, is man up. And like, no, but we don't know. And I'll tell you what, we don't know who it would be. We assume it's another race. But they must have some future knowledge. Or is it just because of where it's located? And is it guaranteed to be white because of the law enforcement element being part of the conspiracy? So the immigration thing has taken hold of those people in this country that they did a stunt like that, and they weren't even sure, but it was that big of a deal. the top potential people that could ever do that, something like that, in a small town or big town or whatever, like an LAPD like scandal. That's what I'm saying. That's how I knew. I finally figured it out when I sat on my truck today, and I've seen this thing on. No one has any clue what went on. And if anything, goes, wow, you Mexican gangs, it can get really crazy. Just the shooting was that perfect, and they got through town that perfect, in a goddamn city. I mean, it could be that perfect. It could be all coincidence, perfect shot. But I don't think so, because from the very beginning, whoever the assailants were, had knowledge they would not when they were almost untouchable. Allah on North Side of a bank robbery. It had a divine something about it. Those guys were untouchable. You don't steal a car, steal it for a month. Just drive it through town. They have it on a few cameras. And if you look at a map on Google, you'll see that like they had to drive a long ways to find this birthday party. Like they had to have known about it ahead of time. But I bet you they weren't Latino. I'm not saying they were, I'm not. I don't know. But you never heard that mentioned on the news. If you've heard the story at all, you would never thought that possible. You automatically thought, oh, it's a gang thing. But no, if you looked at the details of it, you would see it was meant to be. We're supposed to think it's Latinos. See, if I don't say something, it stays down. I've got to say something. You've been better off to not say anything. No, that's not the way I was raised. That's not literally the way I was raised. I don't sell out. I'm loyal. If the other crews, if I'm not helping out your race, if this is a secret amongst you, that's cool with you. But I'm just letting you know right now. I'm not playing. I'm not the insider cop that's trying to rat you out. I'm just saying. Someone's rolling like that. I'm not saying we're going to, trying to stop hate for centuries and it just failed again. I'm saying that, it's still here. At least when it happened, it was still here, and it went to that length. It went to a Kennedy assassination and above length, where there's no evidence, like no one's getting it, like it's even blocking your own perception things to realize who did it. And they probably were not. I mean, I'm not saying race is even important. But it's definitely not anything the detectives were pondering. I wonder how far the goddamn highway patrol station is from the shooting. They haven't had a shooting there in like 5 years. Every other town's had like one. There's some gang activity or something going on up the I-5 channel on the freeways, in King City, I never heard of King City. Salinas clearly, Greenfield, even Paso Robles area, like areas like that. But think of the name, King City. There's that name again. There's the name again, King City. I don't even want to tell you that story. But so damn, foster freeze and hate crimes like that, for no reason except so that the rest, like other people, would hear about it and start thinking, oh, so they want to kill Latinos and they don't even want to. They don't want to get credit for it. I fucked up the program by realizing, holy shit, it's like whoever did that out of hatred for the race, or some advantages they're getting from the race. But they're not claiming any religious or real main reason for doing it other than just pure hatred out of the race, because they don't want credit for it. They want you to think it was them. They don't even want you knowing anything about who could have possibly have done it. That's how they want you thinking they're that weak, because Latinos did not do that. And yet no one's ever thought about that. That it's an Inland Empire type deal. That at least in that one the conspiracy goes that high. But who would have the balls to go into that city and do a shooting at all? And they've only had one and they have 4. I mean, it's not gang affiliated. Maybe it is some other weird shit. I don't even know. Extraterrestrial shit. What might be the difference? Just a different branch that is different things. But to have fooled the minds of that many people, it could have been. They could have literally gotten the whole city. And what city was it called? King City. They put a beam on it. And next thing you know, the cops are all on code 7 when they have this shooting in broad daylight, I may add. But who the fuck are these 3 guys? They must not. Are they from here? And why are they having people? That was the message meant to be sent. And that's an eccentric, maybe creepy, but it can be the only answer, because it's just too out of the realm. And I've seen other people reporting on this story, and they're confused by it, and they would be down to do weird shit like that. Like what that race might do or something like that. And there's something weird about it. I'm telling you, right when I saw it, I knew this is not normal, like how we get along shit. This is some outsiders shit. Whether that means it was outsiders like Navy SEALs, or outsiders as in, like, I don't just mean the movie, in Oklahoma, in Tulsa. I mean, outsiders. And I've seen that before. What the North Hollywood bank robbery? I mean, they had the guns confiscated 2 months before, and they got them back to use in the same robbery. The emotional trauma. There's it heavily spiritual. So it's something of a godlike nature conducted that. Down to the people who think they did it maybe out of hate, whatever. But whoever the three were in the car that did the shooting, maybe if they were even real, I don't care who they say they arrested. The message behind that whole event, which everyone's been debating and kind of confused on, even anyone who lives in that city, I don't think it's predominantly Latino, it didn't make any sense. So an outside element has come into their hood. You see what I'm saying? I'm just pointing it out because I owe it to that culture. I owe it to the culture. It's never, you're scared to drive through certain parts of the city. It's never a crime on you as a white person. I'm not bashing whites. I'm just saying the cops don't show up then, the FBI does. Now we got someone, even heavier hitter, doing this. Like, maybe it's above racism. I don't know. But just to give out the impression that it was a Latino gang, and they're doing hits like that. At least three guys that appear Latino. I mean, I don't understand. Are these really crazy people in society? And apparently, it had to be a conspiracy, even if the people didn't know they were legitimately doing a conspiracy, mind controls, on a huge level. There's no why, and then have these three guys who did it do it so boldly to do it in Cop City, and the way they did it, where they stole the car and dumped it the way they did, and then the story they're giving you now about who they really are is bullshit. They haven't problems with juvenile. Dude, there's no. Dude, this is not. You've never seen a hit like that. L.A.92 wisdom. I'm telling you. So right there, some loser on fucking Facebook figures it out. But that's where the enemy is, and I don't even want to know where that is because if you think about it, I don't think people could have pulled that off. That's like on the Kennedy level. But even that was to get Kennedy out of the way. This had hate attached to it, and it shocked the whole community. Like it brought, maybe was it to bring the community together, or was it to think bad things? Remember, never see anything as a good or bad thing. The angel told me, and it's true. Because some bad things have to happen, so that good things happen. Or I'll leave in the morning, right as I stare at this half-empty glass. Tell her. Tell her. See, I'm a teller. When I find out, I tell you. But no, my gift is in. Did you know? It doesn't surprise you? Okay, but the balls are to say it. For everyone, to say the truth. So even if it's self-incriminating, you get a hard on from it. Why? Because that's how you win. You don't win by taking the side of I better keep quiet. This is my team. It's not. It's not that team. It's the human race as a team. Now I'm not saying I'm doing to test you. I'm just saying, like, I'm not made of that shit. Where I'm not going backwards, bro. So you need to go forwards and start admitting more truths. No matter how because whatever you think winning is not the one that's going to work if it involves a lie. Nothing wins that's founded on a lie. You don't have to foundation to do it on a lie. You can go to the truth anytime you want, whether it's a person, whether it's a fucking religion, whatever it may be. So it doesn't fucking matter. It goes beyond that. But maintaining in the truth, I see more gold in that than I would by being like, oh shit, now I know it, and I'll actually keep it secret because once I'm telling you the scenario, and you're investigating in the area that I'm onto something. And I just want to know how many other people have thought that's what it is. You thought one of the guys had ties to a gang. And I mean like 30, 40 guys. I mean, this was a Christmas party or a birthday party. It was a very big anomaly. It was a Columbine, but at a house. I saw Columbine today, 8:25 to go to a day. What I mean, those kids, dude, it's really fucking weird how like they. It's I mean, the guy went to the prom. Did you know Cleveland or whatever went to the prom the night, like 2 nights before? Something else gets stepped. They don't just go crazy in their heads, bro. Or something. Maybe the mechanism that would stop them will. But look up what Columbine means, and you tell me that something. It's above getting first place. I'm saying it's going from. We know that's out there to like, whoa, what did that? That's that big step. That's when you go to another level. Okay, I'm telling you, the King City shooting at the Latinos family, and I would not tell them that. Let them grieve the way they're going to grieve. But if we're the cops and we're working on this case, God damn it, well, how do I know from L.A.92? That's how it was. I felt that like we were, even as white people, Caucasians in middle class, we saw what the cops were about. I understand they felt the best to go after inner city blacks. There was something floating over that city. Rodney King, gets beat. Rodney King was drunk, so it's never a perfect situation like that. But it was like to draw attention to a deeper truth. And did you know that when they turned that in, the guy was with a bodyguard? Why would the guy who videotaped it be with a bodyguard unless he suspected? Okay. So when you show the documentary of it, realize what? Our hands were tied too, which means it must have been something outside of our family, every color, every race. Because if when you start talking about it, in other words, talking about the element, then you start realizing, or you can say you don't believe me. And I'm not saying that everyone felt that way, but one of the reasons I know that was when we handed out the peace flyers, and then they put these gangsters on MSNBC, and the woman's telling them, well, who's handing out the flyers that say like Crips and Bloods get together for the get together. Oh, and kill Whitey and kill the LAPD. Now there was a circle of us. We knew who was doing that. What did it look like? It looked like they were passing it out because you think they're just dumb N-words. But we blew it up. We let them know. A cop did it. A cop would have to have done that. That's how they rolled. That's how they rolled. It's their fucking signature type of act to do some shit like that. I'm not saying it justifies the riots, but I understand.